Welcome to week 4. We are almost done with our month of September. I'm so proud of us. So, same thing as always, if you need something or you're struggling or your child's struggling, please check in. I love doing the videos back and forth. It's so fun to be able to try to create a little relationship with each other. But anyway, so I'll try to kind of go through week 4 kind of quick. I know you guys are starting to kind of see kind of the routine to it and the rhythm that we do. If your child is getting a little, we're doing a lot with like colors, some pretty basic things. So we're just gonna slowly each week get a little bit harder and add a little bit more and build a little bit more. Next week, when we kind of start into like October's things, I'm gonna start adding even some more stuff in. So as always, it's there for you to use. If your kid is just hitting a wall and they're done, don't use it. Just do the basic. Whatever's on here is kind of like the basic things, and then I'm gonna give you lots of extra ideas of things to do in case you need to swap out something like, the colors are a little bit easy, so we're gonna swap it out for this, or whatever you want to do. Okay, so here we go. Week 4, day 1, you're gonna do the apple painting arts. So just cut an apple in half, and then I usually just put a little bit of paint like on a paper plate, and then I let them dip it around. If you have those little like corn stabbers, holder handle things, you can stab that into the apple so they can hold on to that while they do the painting and they won't get so much on their fingers. But I'm always afraid they're gonna stab each other with them, so I just let them get their fingers a little bit messy. But you just dip it in and let them do it. And then I usually have like a paper plate and an apple with red paint, yellow paint, green paint. That way we don't get it all mixed into like a brown mushy mess. So there's the apple print one. It's super fun. The kids usually love it. And then the letter A comes from these packets. Oops, and I just dumped everything. Comes from these packets again. So it should be same old. Whenever we're doing a letter A paper, whenever I say that's what I mean from these worksheet ones. And then the letter A poem just comes from the poems one. So this should be kind of, hopefully it's going a little bit quicker when you're getting organized for the week. The color orange and the color purple are coming from our Color Detectives packet. And you could also use that color sort if that's more fun, if they're getting tired of always coloring everything, or you could let them bingo dot it or paint it. Like if you get creative with the materials that they're using and not always just a crayon, or if you give them like a clipboard and they get to walk around with the clipboard in color, or a book and put the paper on a book and walk around. There's some ways that way where you can get a little bit creative just to not make it be the same thing over and over and over again. And then we have the I am blank years old. So this is how old they are. And then you can do it 2 different ways. If they're still working on their scissor skills, you can just have them cut out around the dotted lines into the little squares, and they can just glue it on to their apple like that. Or if they're ready and they're doing good with their scissor skills, I try to encourage them to cut out the actual seeds, which this is a little bit harder. I would say that was more of like a kindergarten skill to be able to do that. So do, take it how I guess you need to do it. And then we have day 2. We have the apple scissor art, and that is, you need this blank page and then just some colors of paper for like an apple. So orange, green and yellow, red and orange, red and pink, whatever they're into. And they just cut their paper any way they want, just little pieces. And then I do the glue myself. But I would just put on a little bit of glue, kind of all over the paper, let them cut out the pieces and stick them on, and then they can color the stem and the leaf if they want to, like my son did. So that one's a great one for practicing those scissor skills. And then we have their A's for alligator, and that one looks like that. I just added, I just had them color it green, And we did a googly eye and drew on some teeth, so we like like an alligator. But you could paint it, markers, bingo daughters, glitter glues, whatever you got. I'll leave it up to you guys. And then the beginning of year assessments, that is a whole separate video, so go check that one out. There's lots of details on how to do it and testing, and I'll try to give you some examples and kind of like each age, which I expect. So that is like a different video. I didn't want to take time in here. But if you'd like to, just to kind of see where they're starting the year off, you can go do those beginning assessments. And then color purples, just from the purple packet. And then apples up on top is this page. It's its own separate thing that I sent you. So apples on top. And then you just use red paper, and I just cut little strips, and we just kind of had to staple it together at different points, but you can make a little crown with it. Sorry, it's hard to see. And then we just kind of put it up and over. You could just leave it as a long number strip. You could just glue them all in. So they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's just to work on for some of those kiddos that are a little bit higher, to see if they can start to realize that like putting numbers in order and recognizing those numbers. So if they need help with that, that's totally fine. Just help them put it in order. If they're just coloring it, that's okay. But every once in a while, I like to throw in kind of a kindergarten level thing just to kind of expose them to something different, I guess. So that's what that one is. If it's just way too hard, just throw it out. Please don't stress out about it. I don't want them stressing out about it. And then I had on there the apple tree hand, and I switched it out. I'm gonna have you guys do this apple painting. It's in the apple packet, but we had them actually blowing the paint on this. So you get your straw, which now I misplaced it, but you have them dip it in the paint and then they blow it on the straw. Or we were noticing that if I took watercolor paint and dripped it on the apple in little puddles, and then they just blew it, then they weren't sucking the paint back up with their straw. So if you put the little puddles and then let them blow the straw to kind of blow the paint out, it was kind of cool to see it go everywhere. They're having a really fun time. And it was a little bit messy if you can't see, so you might want to put a placemat or a tablecloth or a cookie sheet or something like that under this, because it was lots of fun, but it did go everywhere. So that's a little change. And then same thing, we're gonna do more beginning assessments. And then they also have their parts of an apple book from the apple packet. So just cut it in half. It has the little lines to put a little staple in. And this one is just to kind of that same thing. We're gonna stick in a little bit of kindergarten, and we're gonna see if they can start to do the I, see, the, stem, and see if, and it will repeat and give picture cues. So as they turn the pages, I see the, and then the arrow shows them leaf. I see the skin. So hopefully, because we've been talking so much about the apples and they've been learning so much about it, that the sight words I, see, and the, once they're repeated over and over again, you'll notice they'll remember it, and it'll be kind of a repetition for them, and hopefully they can read it themselves, and it'll just build that confidence that, oh, I just read a book. So help them do it if they're too young or this is too hard. Then read it together, let them color it, and then eventually you'll notice that they will start to pick up on it, because it does have that repetition, and they will be able to read it themselves. Even my little 3-year-olds can usually figure out the repetition and start reading the book to themselves. So there's that one. And then this is the last day. Finish up your Color Monster book. Same thing, once they're reading it, they'll get that repetition, and it just builds that reading confidence. And our last thing for the day is the apple name puzzle. And I already cut it apart because I wanted to be able to show the kids, sorry. But you take the little apple and write their name on it. So have them color it, and then you write their name on it. And then if they're ready and they can cut a straight line, you can have them cut each letter into little straight strips. And then I like to kind of shuffle it together, and you can lay their name tag out so they can see it. And then I like to see, can they figure out the puzzle? Can they take all this crazy and glue it on so that they have the apple name right back the way it's supposed to look. We can get it to stay on there for us. So then they'll glue it on like that. Ta-da! And then they can glue on the little stem and the leaf, and then they have their sweet little name. And that's also kind of a kindergarten activity to kind of get that, you know, that organization of their name. And is the letter upside down? Is it sideways? You know, are they right next to each other? That sort of thing. So that's week 4. I know that was fast. We're gonna start to introduce some shapes, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, here we go. Happy week 4. Bye.